Good morning from Portland, Maine, everybody. This is the last day of our cruise. We are sad that we have to leave, but we've had such a great time on this cruise. We're excited to get out and see what Portland has. Some of the highlights, we heard they have some potato donuts. Sounds good. We saw some vinyl record stores. So Matt's super excited about checking out some record stores here, and we're just going to walk around the city and explore. We don't have any excursions planned today or anything like that. We're just kind of having a leisurely last day here on our cruise. So getting off the ship here in Portland, Maine, you come down to level 2 and you just walk right off, and then they have a walkway. It looks like it connects over there into the city.
Into the sea.
In the city. The city, not the sea. Yeah. So we walk to the left out of the port. We are walking down Charlotte Street. For a few blocks it was mostly just the port area, and now we're entering in some of the commercial area with shops, gift shops, breweries, restaurants, things like that. And we are on the hunt for donuts. Okay, so we found what is supposed to be the best donut store in Portland, the Holy Donut. And holy donuts, Batman. There's a huge long line down the street to get in. But we have to do it. We're here. It's a must. Just gotta find the end. Potato donuts. Still going. Alright, I think this is the end. Let's get in line and see how long it takes. So to save a little time, instead of waiting in that line, we did a mobile order. So it only took 10 minutes and we hopped in a little gift shop while we were waiting. Now we get to try our yummy donuts. Super excited!
So here we are outside the Holy Donut in Portland, Maine. We decided to get
Let's see what they look like.
3 donuts. Oh my goodness, those look amazing.
Let's take a peek.
This is their classic maple bacon. I believe this was the
apple cider.
Apple cider. And this is a ginger cannoli cream potato donut. Looks amazing.
Yeah, let's try them. So Matt's trying the Holy Ginger Cannoli Donut.
I haven't got the frosting yet, but the donut itself is really good. It's thick, it's a little heavy. But I can taste the ginger in the glaze, that's really good.
I've got the apple cider donut. It is a very heavy donut, very dense. It's a potato donut. So let's see if this tastes different. It's good. It's cakey. Don't really have a strong apple cider flavor just yet. Could be more in the glaze than the donut itself. But it's quite tasty. I can see why these are popular.
And the last one that we're trying today is the maple bacon glazed donut. It is topped with all kinds of actual bacon. It's good. Good bacon at least. Let's see what it tastes like. This one's the sweetest one of the bunch. Even sweeter than the cannoli one. It's really good though. Strong maple flavor, bacon's there. Same kind of dense donut. This one might be my favorite out of the bunch. It's good.
Okay, so that was a fun stop at the Holy Donut. We just took a couple bites of each of them, so we have plenty of donuts left for the rest of the day. They're very sweet.
Yep.
Don't want to send our sugar soaring too high just yet. But let's go into the city and see what else we can find.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we're about a mile away from the port. We walked a long way up the street, High Street. We're looking for Congress because there's some vinyl record stores around here. This is a really cool area of the town. Kind of has a mix of an old feel and an industrial area. Matt is checking where we're at. So we found this local store called Flea for All, kind of a flea market-y area here, but they have a decent vinyl selection back in here. So Matt's looking through some vinyl. Have a really funky vibe in here. So this record is Hair the Musical. Now we went to a Broadway quiz on the ship, and one of the questions was from this musical. I have never heard of this. Then we were at another store and they were playing a soundtrack from Hair, and now I'm seeing Hair the Musical. Have you ever had one of those experiences where you hear something for the first time and then you see it everywhere? It's kind of crazy. So we found a local record store called Strange Maine. Definitely eclectic in here. They do have tons of vinyl to look through. Kind of a funky small shop. Okay, so one final stop before heading back to our ship is Shipyard Brewing Company. This is local here to Portland. They have a tasting room, so we're gonna go see about getting a flight.
Well, if you look at the top of the building, the top of that flagpole, you will see a keg.
All the way to the top of the flagpole. It's a keg. Thank you, tour bus who just drove by and we heard them speaking.
I'm supposed to let everybody know how observant I am.
Oh, Matt's that observant. I'm sorry. My bad.
So inside Shipyard was pretty loud and busy, so we didn't do any filming, but it was a fun place, and we do highly recommend checking them out if you're ever in the Portland, Maine area. Afterwards, we had a quick bite to eat at a local place on the water, and then went back to the ship to leave. And tomorrow when we wake up, we'll be back in Boston. So be sure to check out our video on Serenade of the Seas Part 2 to learn more about the debarkation process and what you do to get off the ship when your cruise is over.
Hey friends, good morning. We are back in Boston. We just got off the Royal Caribbean Serenade of the Seas, doing a little New England cruise, and we have a day to spend here in Boston. So be sure to hop on over to our channel and check out that video of the cruise if you'd like to look at some of those videos. And today we just have one day. We fly out in the morning, so we thought we would do a little exploration of Boston.
Yep.
Boston.
Doing the Freedom Trail.
Yeah.
We got off at the State Street T line. So we're about, about middle or so?
Somewhere in the middle, yeah.
Of the trail. And heading our way to the U.S. Constitution. So let's see what we can see along the way.
Let's go. Now we're here in the north end of Boston. We are heading over to the USS Constitution via the Freedom Trail, just following the red line that's throughout the city.
If you're not familiar with the Freedom Trail, this is literally a red line that's just kind of made into the sidewalk throughout the city of Boston. It's about a 2.5-mile trail, and it's going to take you to 12 historic sites where you'll learn about Boston and America's unique history, including the Puritans, the American Revolution, and more. So we're rounding the corner here to go to Paul Revere's house to start our walk on the Freedom Trail.
So Paul Revere, of course, is known for his infamous ride through the town of Boston to alarm the people that the British troops were coming to seize the Patriot stores. So he was giving them a heads up. We have limited time here today because we're only here for one day. So we're going to opt not to go inside the house. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. Pretty small in comparison to some of the other buildings that are here.
But if you did want to tour the house, adult admission was $6 and children ages 5 through 17 was only $1.
So one of the reasons that I love Boston so much, let alone the historical aspect of it, is just the buildings, the architecture here. It's just really cool to see. But you have a lot of historical buildings that they honor and preserve next to skyrises and modern buildings. You don't see that a lot in cities these days. Now we're heading to the Old North Church. But before we do, let's just take a moment to appreciate this church. It's beautiful. So as you come onto the property here for the Old North Church, they have a statue erected of Paul Revere and his rod. You can see the steeple of the church in the background.
So the Old North Church was established in the early 1700s, but its claim to fame didn't happen until one night on April 18th, 1775. This was the night that Robert Newman and Captain John Poling Jr. climbed to the top of the steeple, and they held high 2 lanterns that signaled to Paul Revere that the British were marching to Lexington and Concord by sea across the Charles River and not by land. And this was the event that ignited the American Revolution, so there's a lot of history here at the Old North Church.
Here's a view of Old North Church from across the way. Now this is still an active church. They had worship services in there. In fact, we could hear them singing as we walked by. Looks like 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. You could worship here if you want.
And they do offer tours here as well. So general admission tour is only $5. It's a self-guided tour of the sanctuary area. Or for $7, you can get an audio tour that you can take. And they also recently started offering crypt tours, because apparently under the church there's a little over 1,000 bodies buried down there, and so you can hear all about the crypt and the burial practices of the early congregants of the church.
Well, the next stop on the trail here is Copp's Hill Burial Ground, established in 1659. This is on the National Register of Historic Places. Let's go take a peek. So in this burial ground, they have a lot of the participants of the Boston Tea Party, which took place in December of 1773. You can just really see the wear of the stones. You can see that they've been here for quite some time.
Also relatively thin too, compared to
yeah, they're thin. We're going to be crossing the Charles River here. We got the Boston Garden across the way. We're heading to the USS Constitution. The bridge is being worked on. So they have repainted a temporary line on this side of the bridge. We're here now at the Boston Naval Shipyard. Looks like they had a walk this morning for the Kidney Foundation that just left, so there's a lot of people exiting this area. This is also where a lot of the tours and stuff load and come to see. But we are here to see the USS Constitution. So up ahead they have a museum dedicated to the ship. We're gonna go see how much tickets are. See the ship over there. We're going inside here to look for a tour. Okay, so as you enter the visitor center, you will have to go through some security. So be sure you're not bringing any weapons or anything here with you. Now we're gonna go inside the visitor center. It is open from 10 to 6 p.m. All right, now we found out from the guy inside that it's actually free to get on the USS Constitution. Old iron sides, as she's known. You just have a self-guided tour, so that's really nice. They also have the Cass and Young is here as well. We'll have to see if we can find that, and he said that was open for tours as well. Okay, now the USS Constitution is the oldest commissioned warship still afloat, known as Old Ironsides.
So the Constitution was originally launched in 1797. And it was actually built right here in Boston at the Edmund Hart Shipyard. She's most noted for her actions during the War of 1812 against the United Kingdom, when she captured numerous merchant ships and defeated 5 British warships. She was retired from active service in 1881 and was eventually designated as a museum ship in 1907. Now, she has gone through several repairs and restorations over the years, but she actually sailed under her own power in 2012. And this was to celebrate the anniversary of her victory over the Battle of Guerriere, and that is the battle that actually earned her the name Old Ironsides.
Okay, so now we're down below the decks. They have a log here of the commanding officers of the Constitution. This is a view of the captain's quarters. And you can see back in there was the small bed. Pretty large space for the captain. Dining area. This is the first level down. It looks like there's a third level too that we can go explore. This lovely barrel was used for serving grog. Aha. It says the grog was powerful as 4 glasses of wine. They had to stop the sailors from hoarding it and getting wine drunk. They had to swallow their ration while the officer watched. That's pretty funny.
Is Grandma going down? You gonna follow Grandma? You gonna follow Grandma down?
Alright, now we've come down another deck. This is a setup of what a typical sleeping quarters look like. They're hammocks. Looks like this could have been their dining quarters in here. There's not a lot of room under here. You have to dunk to get underneath. I think these were some of the quarters from some of the first lieutenants. Or other captains.
Now, one thing you may not know about this ship is that it is still a fully commissioned ship, and it has over 75 officers and sailors assigned to her service. They help educate people about the Navy's role in war and peace throughout educational programs, historical demonstration, and special public events. And there's typically a couple of sailors on board that you can talk with if you visit the Constitution. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so we just got off the USS Constitution. It was very interesting to see the living quarters and how everything was set up, the gun deck and everything from back in the day. Certainly gives you a huge respect for our military, especially our sailors out there. So if you're watching this and you're a military member or you have a member of your family in the military, just wanted to say thank you for serving our country. We appreciate you and we honor you. So also on property was the USS Cass and Young DD-793. This ship was one of 175 Fletcher-class destroyer ships built during World War II right here in the Navy Yard. She was commissioned on December 31st, 1943, and was named for Captain Cass and Young, who was awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroism at the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. She was in active service until 1960 and is now preserved as a memorial ship. She was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1986 as one of only 4 surviving Fletcher-class destroyers still afloat. There is no charge to visit the ship either. We are back in the city now at the Old South Meeting House. This is a historical church that was built in 1729. It is mostly known as the organizing point for the Boston Tea Party. Benjamin Franklin was also baptized here. And there is a $15 charge if you want to take the tour.
Okay, now we're here at Boston's Old City Hall. We are doing the Freedom Trail a little bit backwards now, where we went up to the Constitution first, came back, had some lunch around the Faneuil Hall area, did some shopping, and now we're finishing up the last part of the trail.
So, you know, while we were grabbing lunch at Gordon Ramsay's Burger, I could have swore I heard from the kitchen, "You donkey!" But maybe it was just this statue.
It is a donkey. Okay, our next stop here is the Granary Burying Ground. This is also a National Record of Historic Places. Paul Revere is buried here, as are many other people. Let's go see. So I heard someone mention that here to the right of his memorial is his actual tomb. This was all he could afford at the time, and the memorial to him was erected later. Now, this is a memorial erected to remember John Hancock. This is set to mark his grave, but it was actually put here by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Okay, now we're entering the Boston Commons. So this is a big green space. Their park, it's really beautiful. This was founded in 1634. It's kind of a layout of how big it is. We spent a little time walking through the Boston Commons and the public garden, and then we headed over to Bulls and Finch Pub, which is more commonly known as Cheers from the TV show, and then we caught the T back to our hotel. So we had a really fun day walking the Freedom Trail and checking out Boston, and hopefully you've enjoyed following along and just learning a little bit about the history of our country. Boston is definitely one of my favorite cities, and I can't recommend enough anyone going here and just exploring everything that it has to offer. So if you've been here, please let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up by hitting that like button and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.